Hello, Dr. Pute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
How are you? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you clearly.
Good.
I think we're live on YouTube, and we should be live. The session starts at
In another 3 minutes.
yes, we're on time. Hello, Dr. Pute. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you clearly. Can you hear back? Can you hear the back?
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah.
I'm going to mute, and we should be live. The session starts at. I just want Shola to confirm that
In another 3 minutes.
they can see me. We're on time. Hello, Dr. Pute. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Shola.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can. Sorry? Can you hear back? Can you hear the back?
Yeah, I can hear that.
And so I'm starting. Dr. Pute is even in the room. And we're also live. The session starts out. So click on it. I just want Shola to confirm that. Click on it. They can see me. We're on time. Hello, Dr. Pute. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Shola.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can. Sorry? Can you hear back? Can you hear the back?
Yeah, I can hear that.
And so I'm starting. Dr. Pute is even in the room. And we're also live. The session starts out. So click on it. I just want Shola to confirm that. Click on it. They can see me. We're on time. Hello, Dr. Pute. Can you hear me? Hi, Shola.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can. Sorry? Can you hear back? Can you hear the back?
Yeah, I can hear that.
And so I'm starting. Dr. Pute is even in the room. Playback. So click on it. I just want Shola to confirm that.
Is Shola controlling the discussion or?
No. I am.
Okay.
You're just trying to share your life.
Okay, because my slides, am I going to be sharing my slides?
You're going to share it. I've given you right to share your slide.
Okay, all right then.
Okay, let me try. Can you hear the playback? No.
I can hear you.
But no playback anymore.
No playback.
Okay. So the streaming starts now, actually.
We should be starting now.
I think we're good to go. We just have some, so people will join us directly from Zoom.
Okay.
And we'll just go now. You can start now, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We should be starting now.
I think we're good to go. We just have.
Okay, everyone. Good morning. It's our conference again, and I believe that we are all having an exciting time this period. My focus during the next 2 days is on human resources leadership and better well-being stage in the workplace. My name is Dr. Pute, and it gives me great pleasure to lead a couple of these sessions during our virtual conference. We are looking at workforce planning in the age of automation. And we want to see how we can merge workforce to technology planning to increase productivity and business success. I like to spend just the first 2 minutes to bore you about planning, what is workforce, and what is automation. I like to talk about this in a foundational manner so we can all swing together. What is planning? Obviously, I know that we all have a clear picture of what planning is, but I'd like to draw your attention that anytime we plan, we are looking at our future. And the future of every business is important. Your future is important. My future is important. Therefore, planning in the business setting is absolutely important, okay? But we are not talking about planning generally in terms of whether we make profit or we don't make profit. We are talking about planning using the workforce. Using the workforce. Who is the workforce? The workforce is the men and women who work together to provide goods and services. Labor force, workforce, employees is the same thing, okay? So we are using people to plan, okay? So we are using people to achieve the future of the organization, okay? Now, how does automation fit in? Because we are looking at planning, we are looking at workforce, and we are looking at automation. You can't take the other out. If you really have to make sense, you have to see planning, you have to see workforce, and you have to see automation. So what's automation? Let's make it simple. Automation is any process that helps you to improve reliability and efficiency. Any process that helps you to build on reliability and efficiency with little or immediate human control. So if I say, for example, what is 2 plus 2, you will tell me 4. But if I say, what is 10 times 5 times 20 times 18 minus 5 divided by 20 times 20 divided, you say, hold on, Dr. Pute, take it easy, slow down. But yet there's a process that all we need to do is plug in all of those complications and it comes with an answer. So you can see that when you plan and use people to plan and introduce technology, which is automation, it makes it more reliable, it makes it more efficient for the company to go closer to achieving success. So most of us are familiar with what automation is. So I'm really going to be focusing a lot more on what are the benefits of automation and what are the challenges of automation. That is really what I will be focusing on. But let me share my slides with you this morning. Again, this is technology. Let's see how it works. Right. So I will be looking at, that's an interesting one. Let me look at my files. Box. Well, this is looking. Erefa, do you have my slides?
No, I don't.
Let me go back to my, share my screen. Just a minute, I'll be there. Just give me 1 minute. Let me go back. Let me go back. I think I need to exit the full screen. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my slides?
No.
Can you see my slide?
No. Not yet. I can't see your slides yet. You need to share it.
Okay, let me.
Try and share it now.
Yeah, let me try.
Click share screen. Can you see the share screen button?
Yeah, I'm gonna get there now. I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, you're sharing, but it stopped. I thought you were just about to share, but it stopped again.
Can you see it now?
No, it stopped. You were about to share before, but it stopped. Yeah. It stopped again. You're about to share. Your video is off.
Okay, just give me 1 minute. Later. Later. Okay, I'll try and let me just. Huh? Yeah, this is it. I see.
Is it on Teams?
No, it's not on Teams. It's on Zoom.
Oh.
I'm trying to share my screen.
Okay, I can see your screen now.
Yeah, just do that when you're done.
Okay.
I can see your screen now, but your video is off.
Good. You can see my screen?
Yes, but your video is off.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, yes.
So we are fine.
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Sorry about that break. So we'll just quickly roll. So we are really looking at workforce planning in a global firm, for example. I talked about the importance of automation and the fact that it's for the purposes of achieving efficiency and reliability. Let me go through some of the benefits of workforce planning. Okay, it helps us to link the business goal with talent management, because each time we talk about workforce planning, we are looking at the use of our talent, i.e., those within the organization. And when we talk about automation in terms of workforce planning, it means, for example, we're able to determine how many engineers do we have, okay? What is their background? We're not going to begin to turn on files. We're not going to begin to turn on CVs because we know. So if we are planning to open a new outfit somewhere in Ibadan or somewhere in Kano, we're going to say to ourselves, are we looking at engineers? Are we looking at people who are 5 years within the system? So because we have a form of system to provide immediate and ultimate information, all we need to do is click the button and we're able to do that. It makes it easier for us to compete very effectively and very quickly because we have advanced knowledge of who we have, okay? So it makes workforce planning easy. It also makes it easy for us to have a competitive edge because time is of essence when we are talking about competition. If you are providing a kind of quotation, if an organization is asking you to do a quote, guess what? If they ask you for a quote and they are giving you 1 week to provide a quote, and you are turning in your quote a day ahead or 3 days ahead, you've already beaten the competition. The competition is still busy, grappling with information. But because you have a kind of automation, because you've built in a system within the organization, to address your ability to provide information speedily, readily, accurately, and timely, you are already ahead of the competition. What does workforce planning do? It is a thread that ties all other HR activities and integrates these with the rest of the organization. How does that happen? So when you talk about integrating automation within the organization, it cuts across marketing, it cuts across finance, it cuts across engineering, it cuts across production. But listen to this. If you have automation and you don't have the right workforce, it doesn't work. But how do you get the right workforce? The way you set up getting the right workforce is to create a platform that makes it easy for you to tie your business need with your workforce. This morning, we talked about millennial. We talked about their strengths. We talked about their advantage. We talked about their weaknesses. But all of these are not going to be useful if we don't have a backfall, a data fallback. And such data fallback can only be provided if we have a form of automation. I mean, let's make it even very, very simple. If you are going to travel to Benin from Lagos, I mean, those days you could do it maybe 1.5 hours, 2 hours, as the case may be. You want to go to Kano, maybe it's going to be, an hour and a half, depending on whether you're going to go by road or by air. Now, one system makes it quicker, but it takes proper planning. Now, you can have a plane. If you don't have a pilot, it's not going to work. You might have a plane, you might have a pilot. If you don't have a destination, it's not going to work. So you've got to link HR planning to get a competitive advantage. Those days, there were airlines who left at a particular time. If you looked at your wristwatch, they will leave at that time. Now, they are able to achieve that because of automation. They're able to achieve that because they're able to reach out to their pilots and say, look, you have to be at the airport at such and such a time. They're able to achieve that because they're able to look at the weather and see what it's saying. So all of this is that automation makes life much more reliable and interesting. But let's take a step further and look at HR planning in the context of automation, okay? It ensures adequate human resources to meet the strategic goals and operational plans of the organization. The right people with the right skill at the right time. The right people with the right skill at the right time. How are we able to do that? Because we've put in place a planning system. We've put in place a backdrop of people with respective skills and with adequate skills to match every circumstance we find ourselves in the organization. So what does it do? It keeps us up to date with social, with economic, even with legislative and technological trends in any area, because it's the data speaking for us. It gives us flexibility in our ability to manage change, even if the future is different. Automation. Now, if we look at the stages of HR planning, there are a few things that automation will help us to achieve much more quickly. Assessing the current HR capacity, we are able to know how many people we have who have 5 years experience or who have 2 years experience. We're able to look at their work experience. We're able to look at what the appraiser says about them. We're able to determine whether they will need presentation skills. We're able to determine whether, in fact, their shortfall is ability to interpret data We're able to see whether the background, I mean, all kinds of things are provided when we run through an appraisal. So you can click on the appraisal button and it can tell you who has what, who has a strength, who has a weakness in the specific areas that you are looking at. And then it makes utilization easy as well as control of what you want to do with people and with your circumstances. The other interesting thing about workforce planning, when you bring in automation, is that it exposes you to what the competition is. It gives you an obvious time limit on how you can match on. But which HRO function would you want to introduce automation? Because there are various functions in HR. Which HRO function would you like to introduce automation? Is it in recruiting? Is it in selection? Is it in appraisal? Every organization should have an aspect of focus. Every organization should have an aspect of challenge. And so whenever we talk about workforce planning as it relates to human resource management, it's always important to begin to ask yourself, which HRO function am I going to start with? Which HRO function would we start with? Is it in rewards? Is it in training? Which HR function? Automation is important, but every company has its peculiarities. And so whenever we talk about automation, it's always important to ask yourself, which aspects is automation going to be much more crucial for us? If your outfit is such that you have to respond very, very, very quickly with quotations, if your organization is such that you have to react very, very, very quickly with putting in place a training plan, then you've got to start asking yourself, if we're going to automate today, in what areas are we going to seek automation? Let's take a step backwards and look at automation as it relates to workforce planning. Human resource information system is where HRO and the HR software meet, because we've been talking about automation and automation. We're actually talking about software. And it's where HRO and the HRO software meets that automation springs up. So software is equipped with powerful planning capabilities and is often considered a necessity for the HRO professional. Depending on the workforce, analyzing and preparing employee reports can be daunting, resource draining, and time consuming. In other words, automation will assist the organization in analyzing and preparing the employee report. Otherwise, it can be daunting. Some years back, I remember when I used to ask human resource managers reporting to me to give me a monthly report to tell me attrition rate. Where are we losing people? Is it in finance? Is it in marketing? I know those days it took HR managers quite some days to gather data, ask questions, go to finance, go to engineering, but they don't have to do that today. All they need to do is to click a button and it tells them we've lost a lot more people in engineering, or we've lost a lot more people in finance. And then we can also see the reason why they are going. Were they fired? Did they resign? Did they move as a result of pull factor or push factor? Why did they leave? Now, these are the kind of information that automation presents. And so you are able to replace staff very quickly. You are able to understand why people are leaving and take remedial actions. Why? Because information is made easily available. You can also look at your compensation. You can say, I like to see those who earn X 100,000 a month. What functions are we paying the highest? What functions are we paying the least? Even in negotiations with the workforce, you can go to the workforce to negotiate a package from the point of strength. You can go to the marketplace and pick up information, how price has moved in terms of accommodation, in terms of transportation, in terms of the market. You can compute all of that. And it can tell you that within last year and this year, the indices of inflation has gone up by 10% or by 5%. And when you sit down with the senior staff or junior staff or management staff to negotiate, because of automation, you are strengthened. You have facts that you can use to convince the employees. You can say, hey, if you look at the data we have over the period of the past 1 month, over the period of the past 1 year, this is how prices have shifted. This is the way consumer prices have shifted. So you are able to say, you know what? Because it's gone by 10%, if we are going to increase salaries, if we are going to increase housing allowance, as the case may be, we'll be looking at about between 10 and 15%. And this is our basis of presenting this information before you. So that is what automation does. It aids you, it helps you. If you are an organization that is constantly faced with strikes, actions relating from trade unions and all the rest, automation can provide an answer to that challenge. Have in place a software that can capture various economic prices indices, and you put it ahead of you. So that actually is another reason for looking at automation in the workplace. What are the benefits? HR payroll, time management tasks, workforce performance and trends, predictive analytics to help identify future top performers, assist in taking advanced action for succession and retention, and it helps you to stay proactive. So these are the benefits of HR software in terms of managing the workforce. Let's move on. Let's look at the contextual issues. The contextual issues. We need to be careful that when we are procuring software or any form of automation to help us, we need to make sure that we go for a system that eliminates the need for further costly IT interventions. So it's not just sufficient to get a software. We've got to make sure that whatever software we get does not create further need to acquire subsequent software to support that software. We also need to be conscious of the fact that there could be increased malfunctioning as a result of epileptic power supply. So we need to be careful that whatever software we put in place, that it can be supported. Another important point is qualified specialists with HR functional area and knowledge to manage that scheme or to manage that software. In the days past, there were limited people with such skills. And so there was a need to be very, very careful about how you went for software and to make sure there were people within the organizations who will be trained or people who will be employed to make sure that these tools are run effectively. retaining individuals with specialist IT skills is also important. You don't start the process of software. You don't start the process of automation if you are not going to maintain it. It's a journey you shouldn't start if you are not prepared to maintain it. You've got to be very, very careful also to make sure that you don't have unauthorized access to your software or to your system. There are too many people who can do too many things if they have access to your software. You've got to be very, very careful that not everybody will have access to your software. Otherwise, it can mess up what you've put, or it can disclose what shouldn't be disclosed. Now, it's okay to talk about software. It's okay to talk about automation. But if you do not have management support, you're not going to go too far. Management support is key and it's important when I will talk about automation in HR. My concluding remarks is automation in the workplace is like business strategy versus human capital management. It is time for us to reinvent or invent. It is time for us to reinvent or invent. It's just that we need to make sure we develop HR practices that actually will be aligned to our business goals. Okay? It is also important that we develop processes for effective management of progress against business strategy. Automation is all over the place, but we've got to ask ourselves, which one should we go for? Even if we have to go for them, which area in our business do we think that automation is important or crucial for? I know some organizations start off by saying, you know what, if we are going to do automation, we are going to start off with the finance function. Some people may say, you know what, if we're going to do automation, we're going to start off with the marketing function. And some people will say, you know what, we are going to have an automation that's going to be useful, that's going to cut across every function in the organization. It's fine. There's really nothing wrong in getting automation that cuts across the entire business. But three things are important. The first thing is it relevant for our immediate future? Do we have people who will manage it? Finally, is it money well spent? Is it money well spent? HR planning is vital to ensure the organization's continued competitiveness and survival. It is commonly said that strategy is only as good as its implementation. HR plays a major role in developing technical plans to support the organization's objectives. When an organization embraces strategic HR, the human resource planning process doesn't follow the business plan. It's part of business planning. Strategic human resource management lifts human resources management from the micro level to the macro level, meaning it takes the organization into the competitive arena. Two things I'll say, and then I'll take any questions if there are any questions. Two quick things I'll say very, very quickly. The first one is automation, yes. In what area of the business? Two, it is always important that we use it as a competitive tool. For someone who has spent a significant period of time in trade unionism and all that kind of stuff, any information you provide to help you have an effective negotiation with the human resource team or with the trade union team is always going to be a plus. We don't have illiterate trade unions anymore. We have literate trade unions, people who are willing to rub minds with you. And if you equip yourself with the right tools, you can stand a better point when it comes to negotiating. Apart from the trade union aspect of using automation, I don't really think anybody needs to get us into any lecture about the speed, the reliability, and the efficiency that automation brings into the workplace. But let's ask ourselves, is it for hiring? Is it for recruitment? Is it for reward? Is it for succession planning? Do we have issues with succession planning? We really need to ask ourselves how effective our automation tool will be, depending on what kind of organization we find ourselves in, depending on the challenges we find ourselves faced as an organization, so that we don't just do automation for the sake of automation. Let it address our challenges. Let it address our needs. I would like to stop sharing now. And I would like to take any questions, if there are any questions at this time.
I'm going to go on YouTube and try and get some questions.
Okay.
Any questions? Please, we're waiting before we log off. No one has come with a question, but Dr. Puti, I believe you'll be in the platform where they can interact with you. We're going on a 15 minutes speed networking session starting at 11:45, and there will be people interacting, and they can ask, connect with you, ask you questions about the session.
Yeah, that's fine.
Your slides will be made available to the participants, and we can always reach out with you to any questions. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I'll stand by.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.